Hey, thank you for being a part of our study today. I lied to you yesterday. I told you we were going to look at chapter 15. We're actually skipping chapter 15. It outlines a bunch of cities, but we're going to go to chapter 16 and talk about the Moabite people. Give us a really quick sketch of who the Moabites are.
The Moabites, basically modern day Jordan, are Lot's children. They're the children that he had with his daughters after Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. And God basically loves Abraham. He loves us too. But to show how much he loved Lot, 4 kings from the east came and they conquered all of what today is south central Israel, including the city that Lot was in, Sodom. And basically they did what they always do. They take everything that's valuable, and which they also took Lot. So Abraham found out about this. He had a few friends where he was living in the land of Canaan, and he pulled them together, only 318 men, and they conquered these 4 kings. And not one person from the people that were helping Abraham died. And this is in the next few verses, pictures of Genesis. He ends up meeting Melchizedek. That's why this is important. This whole story, Melchizedek is an image, which we find out from the book of Hebrews, is Jesus basically incarnate. He has no genealogy, no mother, no father.
With that background,
Yes.
with that background, we find out that the Moabites joined with the spirit of Babylon that we just talked about, and they were proud. Chapter 16, verse 6, we have heard of the pride of Moab, how proud he is, of his arrogance, his pride, his insolence. His boasts are false. And in just like we heard about Babylon a minute ago, therefore Moab will wail. Let everyone wail for Moab, mourn, utterly stricken. And so there is a time when God comes, even over the people that he loves and has rescued in the past. There comes a time when God says, I cannot let your arrogance stand. And then you have these tender words from Isaiah. I'm going to ask Rudy to talk about this. Therefore I will weep with the weeping of Jazer, for the vines of, and I can't pronounce the name, I will drench you with my tears, because joy and gladness has been taken away. My heart throbs like a heart for Moab. So, Rudy, why don't you talk about this tender heart, both of Isaiah, but really reflecting the heart of God for those who choose their arrogance and their pride over submission to God.
Well, for me, when I hear these verses, this actually was one of the ways that began to be able to connect, thus saith the Lord, with Jesus. Because this is what I really expected Jesus to be doing all along. It just seemed, how could it be that he raises up these nations just to destroy them? Well, he didn't raise up these nations to destroy them. He knew that this was going to happen. And really, what our view of that he is the guardrails for humanity is true over and over and over again. And that's what really we're going to be reading about, all the neighbors that surround Israel right now from the book of Isaiah. But really, when you move this to the world stage, there's still these 5 or 6 spirits that are in the earth vying for power. And they create a lot of noise, which distracts us from following the Lord. But really, the Lord told us this is going to happen. And if you are worried, if you're being anxious about this, the only thing that's going to bring you stability is to see that God said it, And if he said it, it has to happen. If it has to happen with this longer view of what life is about, there's a comfort in that.
Right.
And I realize that the pandemic has been tough on everybody.
Right.
But really, the world is trying to steal your joy. There is a certain amount of concern that we have to have, that we should have. But our joy only, joy is not the same as happiness. Happiness is fleeting. Joy is forever.
Right.
And the joy belongs to seeing the compassion of God.
Right. One of the ways I approach this, and I want to hook this back into the pandemic for a moment, God has a solution to our problem, but God can't be pal Jesus. I have someone who gave me a little statue of pal Jesus, and it was kind of a little cute Jesus waving hi, and I'm your pal. He can't be pal Jesus. He has truth to give us. And if we don't live by his truth, we will break. And there are superpowers all around the world that can annihilate one another with their weapons. And we have built those up. And God is bringing down the world a notch and saying, I have a weapon. I have a pandemic. And I'm not saying God sent this, but I'm saying he's using it to say to us, be humble and live by my truth. I don't know if I said that well, but his truth must win. So whether it's Moab in around 700 BC and God saying, I'm going to judge you, whether it's Babylon that God says, I'm going to judge, or it's Israel God says, I'm going to judge, or whether it's Rudy and Bob, at the end of the day, God wants his truth to win out in our lives. And if we align ourselves with our truth, we can have the joy that Rudy talked about. We can live in that, even in the midst of the chaos around us. I hope we said that well. God bless you. Keep reading. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great and blessed day. God bless you.